Breaking news, everybody. I'm sure you've already heard this earlier this week that Trump was talking about how the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi needs to go after George Soros, Alex Soros, and these NGOs for their dark money projects of trying to basically globalize the entire world, steal our elections, promote BLM riots, and Antifa and everything violent going on in our streets these days. It's just a known fact that between the Soros Foundation, and so many of these NGOs, there's a lot of this violence that has been promoted by the left, and it's about time we do more than just call it out, actually do something about it. So not only do we have Trump earlier this week discussing this, kind of throwing it out there in the ether, George Soros and his son need to be looked into. Maybe Pam Bondi will open an investigation to them. Hopefully it won't take 20 years to get to the bottom of. But at any rate, I got a couple of great clips here for you about what General Flynn and a few others are discussing involving the future of George Soros. It says General Flynn exposes Soros' dark money-funded NGOs, USAID, and plan to globalize the entire world. Now, if you don't know, USAID is on its way out. They're actually in the process of shutting that thing 100% down. That is the plan, at least on our end. So General Flynn breaks open the Soros, Russiagate, USAID, and NGO connections and how they are all attempting to take over and transform the world into a globalist empire for the global elite. It almost sounds like something out of a Austin Powers movie or something, but it's the truth, folks. It's these Davos-friendly freak shows over there in Europe that think they have the right to run the world because they got enough money to boss people around. That's what it boils down to. Says Flynn also dives into the Ukrainian Soros connection and the CIA starting in 2014 with the Obama-Biden administration that helps. And he shows how the Russia collusion hoax was all tied into it, the 2020 election. And it says big moves are coming with Trump and DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, as we attempt to take down the deep state. Now, this is an 18-minute long video. We'll play the first couple of minutes of it. If you want to finish this video off yourself, you want to watch the rest of it, get into it, I have it over here reposted on my channel, so you're welcome to come over to my X channel and get the final take of every bit of what he says. We'll watch a few minutes of it just to let you know what's really going on.
We were able to prove how Soros, through this structured organization, spent $2.5 billion on our 2020 election. Soros is trying to globalize the world. Alex Soros, who's wandering around the world, paying people off to be globalists, right? All of this matters. What they're trying to do in Europe is they're trying to bog President Trump down. They are absolutely trying to tie him down. Again, they used the yoke of Russiagate in his first administration. They're going to use the yoke of the Ukrainian war in this administration.
Oftentimes I bring up George Soros and what he's done around the world. And yesterday, Donald Trump finally made it clear that he's very aware of George Soros and how he's played into not just what is going on in this country, but the world for the last several decades.
Ukraine is a money laundering operation for, frankly, the Central Intelligence Agency and elements of the government. It is a weapons trafficking. It is human trafficking. It is a drug smuggling arena. And I mean big time, because keep in mind, we've 2014 until we left Afghanistan, Afghanistan was the single largest producer of heroin in the world. Right. George Soros, we know for a fact that in his structure, Arabella Advisors, right? Arabella Advisors, which again, you're like the expert on it. But Arabella Advisors created a structure of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and for-profit organizations, and they built it so seamless. And they used organizations like USAID. They use departments like the Department of State underneath the Obama administration, and clearly underneath the Biden administration.
The story we have gotten about Ukraine has been basically a fabrication of what has gone on over the last several years since the fall of the USSR. And I really wanted your take on George Soros not only saying that he was in Ukraine before the fall of the USSR, but then Victoria Nuland coming out and basically saying that we had taken over the country, not just their banks and their judiciary and all of that, but that we were training soldiers. This is in 2015.
Just a couple of data points. In the last 3 years alone, there's been 1.7 million soldiers killed. Okay. So, I mean, that's just a staggering number. That's just the last 3 years. Never mind going back to 2014. So a reminder for your audience, February of 2014 was when Russia attacked into the eastern part of Ukraine. At that time, Ukraine was going through a real mess, basically a regime change that the United States of America was directly involved in, elements of the CIA, elements of the George Soros Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, and other aspects of some of these European nations. So what Soros desires a completely globalized world. So they wanted to globalize Europe. And that means globalize the European Union, globalize, elements like NATO, which is a defensive charter. But they wanted to globalize Europe, and they still do. In order to globalize Europe, you have to suppress Russia, and then eventually you have to globalize Russia. You got to bring Russia into the world of globalization. This is their big idea, right? And people like Soros and now Alex Soros. I mean, Alex Soros, his son, George Soros' son, is now taking the lead for this. And these guys are still in the mix in many places in the Balkans, for sure. I mean, there's stuff going on in the Balkans today.
Yeah, they're not just trying to destroy the United States. They're trying to change the way the world runs. They want to be able to have the last say in everybody's business, from our medical, our food, our diet, our economics of our state, of our countries. They want to run shit. That's what it boils down to. And they want to control everything. That way, if we don't mind, they can just shut it all down on us. It makes me, when I think of George Soros, I think of the Bible talking about the mark of the beast and people starving without taking the mark of the beast, which at this point I'm almost convinced is your Social Security number. But that's a whole nother theory, but we won't get into that. I'm going down that rabbit hole. I'll be talking all day. But Elon as well is saying the same thing that General Flynn and Trump are saying. We need to do something about the Soros people. Just like the Clintons and the Soros and so many of these other diabolical human beings have been trying to destroy this country and other countries. We shouldn't let them get away with it. We got to stop this. We got to put up guardrails. We got to investigate them, find out what we can do to prevent them from doing business in our country. We can do it. We got just the right man for the job that will do it. Let's just get it started.
Fake NGOs. I think there needs to be a number of arrests in that regard as well, because these are fake charities where mostly Democrats. I don't want to be clear. There's sometimes a little bit of Republican in there, because they sometimes throw the Republicans a bone to say, "Hey, be quiet about this." So that's where you start getting the uniparty thing going on. Mm-hmm. But it is overwhelmingly to Democrats, and they give billions of dollars to NGOs run by Democrats that then go through a whole network of additional NGOs. It's a giant money laundering scheme. Really, at this point, I think the word NGO and money laundering are almost synonymous.
That is absolutely true, folks. It is just a big money funneling scheme. And that has been proven several times over. All they got to do is look into USAID. They should be prosecuting everybody that worked at USAID, that passed out the money from our government to USAID and boomeranged it back to these politicians and attorneys and people. These people that thought that they needed to get a piece of the pie in order to consult. It's a scam, folks. It has been from the start. And I like this guy. 3D Ford Printed Parts is his TikTok channel, but I do see a lot of people post him over here on X, and he's just always very insightful. I like the way he talks, and most of the time he says it better than I can, so I don't mind throwing his clips up here. Hopefully y'all like him as well. Maybe y'all jump over and follow him as well. He deserves it.
the Defense and Intelligence Agency.
All right, let me back it up just a hair.
Remember that guy that lived on the island, Jeffrey, what was his last name? Oh yeah, Epstein. Well, somebody's hacked his emails. Yeah, 50,000 of them, published them on the internet. Ian Carroll and Whitney Webb, they're digging through them. And guess what? There's some evil shit in there. Yeah, intelligence agency stuff. Oh, what? Jeffrey Epstein was communicating with Ehud Barak. That would be the previous prime minister of Israel and head of the defense and intelligence agencies in Israel. And they were talking about surveilling the Clintons, fucking Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel. Oh yeah, dude, all these big people. Yeah, they were running surveillance on them. Yep, and they even communicate about how, like, their super sensitive email, they will only talk in person. Yeah, in emails it references that, and they're not going to put it into text, right? Because unlike the idiots that are Hillary Clinton, the most damning shit, they're like, hey, I'm not going to type this out. I'll see you in person and we'll talk about it. Like, there's all kinds of evil shit. And Ian Carroll says he's only like scratched the surface of it. All kinds of people are digging into it. There's going to be so much shit there, but imagine that. Intelligence agencies, huh? Maybe some blackmail? And the mainstream media, they're like, Jeffrey who? Jeff what? They don't know who you're talking about. They don't look at emails, especially not hacked emails, because those would involve the truth and reality, something the mainstream media has no relation to. Yeah, so just as you thought. Oh, Israel, you sneaky motherfuckers. You were doing something with, what was his last name? Oh yeah, Epstein. Well, somebody's hacked his emails. Yeah, 50,000 of them, published them on the internet.
50,000 emails published on the internet directly from Epstein to God knows who, including about Clinton, Israel leaders, and so much more. It's coming, folks. We're fixing to find a motherload of information. Now, whether anybody will ever go to jail behind it, I think they'll get old and die first at this point, waiting on Pam Bondi. I hate to say that, but it just seems like it's a long road to get to actually indict somebody behind being a pedo piece of trash. Just facts. It's going to hope for the best on that one. But whether the government, the three-lettered agencies, drag their feet or not on this Epstein stuff, there's always going to be somebody that's still digging, still finding a way, even going as far as to hacking email servers to get the stuff that either the government doesn't know about or they're in possession of and hiding and not telling us about. But at any rate, it is becoming public knowledge. So much of this information that is out there is becoming public knowledge via Freedom of Information Act, or just good detective, investigative journalist sleuths out there that are like Laura Loomer, that are better than most of these government entities that are working on it. The Pam Bondi types, the ones that like to go on Fox News and tell about, we got them, we gonna get them. But that's as far as it goes. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm just going to sit back and wait. And know we still got 3 years to get this done. Hopefully, before midterms, we'll start seeing people arrested, indicted, frog marched, the whole 9 yards. Because I can list probably 50 people that need to go to jail because there's evidence against them. Open shut cases, especially involving all these documents and frauds and espionage and conspiracy to defraud Trump of his rights. There's a lot of things that are just ironclad. You can prove it. Adam Schiff lied for 8 years. Yes, folks. We ought to be able to get some people in a compromised situation behind their previous actions, including people involved in this Epstein thing. Now, I found this video earlier today. Somebody had reposted it, and it is brilliant. I'm going to give all credit to at Hey Abbott, and it's Greg Abbott, not the same Greg Abbott as our governor here in Texas, but for the person that made this parody AI, it's just hats off to you and full credit to you. So we'll play it all the way to the end and give him his accolades. So good.
CORRUPT. Every government agency, cesspools of waste, fraud, and abuse. Time to let the big doge loose. Faceless Marxist bureaucrats, public servants put in America last, working in stealth with dirty hands, squandering wealth in faraway lands. Wanna see what the left's been doing to give the country they hate a royal screwing? Funneling hard-earned taxpayer dough into hidden agendas like NGOs. Secret grants, big black holes, whoever it was running the show. It sure wasn't Joe, it sure wasn't Joe. Nation took it up the rectum, cause Sleepy Joe was on the dementia spectrum. Thank the Lord we didn't re-elect him. Where, oh where did our tax dollars go? Here comes Doge, open your kimono. Who let the Doge out? Trump, Trump. Arrogance and full regalia, billions worldwide to sever genitalia. Transgender comic book in Peru, Ivy League schools isolating Jews. The Doge out, Doge. Trump, Trump. Trump, Trump. Who's millions to research transgender mice? Billions for DEI, zilch for ICE. Men and girls restrooms, what a lot of nerve. There used to be a word for that, and if I recall, it's perv. If you wanna win in women's sports, best to be hung like a horse. With all the insanity that abounds, the time has come to release the hound. Who let the Doge out? Trump, Trump. Who let the Doge out? Trump, Trump. Who let the Doge out? Trump, 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 Trump.
To be continued. I can't wait. Created by Greg Abbott, not the governor. Same name, different character. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that. Learn a little bit more about George Soros. Maybe we'll find out in the long run people like him get to go to jail after all. We will have to say justice is a slow-moving wheel. There's no doubt about it. So we'll just be patient, sit back, and wait and watch and know that they're on a timeline here. They got to the midterms to show us they're serious about actually dealing with these criminals. We're fixing to find out. Like, subscribe, and share, Devoted Patriots. Hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. Over and out.